not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
Plum come out and said, hey, Caitlin Clark, Team Clark wasn't present for the meeting about the shirts.
It's not the T-shirts. You're going to do fine. I'd scale back on the Caitlin Clark angst.
Because he's like, Caitlin Clark's a real story, and there's real clicks, and there's real views around that, and real listens for the radio show and his podcast.
Kelsey Plum said, what about Caitlin Clark? The WNBA world is in absolute chaos right now after Plum's post-game comment took aim at one of the league's biggest stars.
But instead of just leaving it at that, Kelsey Plum for LA had to take a dig at Caitlin Clark.
Was this a catastrophic mistake that could hurt the league's financial future? Or is there more to the story? And Caitlin Clark's response? You won't believe how she flipped the narrative. Let's break it all down. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. It all started when Kelsey Plum sat down at the post-game conference, visibly irritated, and let loose on what she thought about Caitlin Clark's role in the WNBA's ongoing pay equity protests.
Kelsey Plum's little stunt during that news conference the other day where she was talking about the pay us what you owe us shirt.
Some people are bigger in the headlines than on the court, she remarked, aiming what seemed like a direct shot at Clark. But that wasn't all. Plum took it further, calling out the lack of contributions from certain teammates, who she implied were riding the coattails of Clark's stardom rather than stepping up during the protest. Fans quickly caught the subtext, and just like that, the firestorm began. The backlash came almost instantly.
Not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
Stacey King criticized Plum's timing, saying, "You can't call for unity 1 minute and throw shade the next. This fractured approach doesn't help anyone." Colin Cowherd didn't hold back either, pointing out on his show that Plum might have underestimated just how much Caitlin Clark represents to the league's future. Without players like Clark, the WNBA's financial outlook wouldn't look as promising as it does now, he said, emphasizing the economic reality tied to star power. And here's the irony. Clark wasn't even playing in that game because of her injury. Instead, she was sitting courtside wearing her now iconic shirt, "Pay us what you owe us," showing her solidarity with the movement.
And now the merch sales are up 500% and attendance is up, 40%. So they're going to get a raise. There's no question.
Despite not logging a single minute on the court, Clark still managed to grab all the headlines, leaving Plum's critical comments to appear petty in comparison. Worse, they didn't just spark debate. They opened a much larger conversation about how the league treats its biggest stars.
As an investment, it's starting to pay off. And so this week they wore T-shirts saying, making a statement, you better pay us.
The financial implications aren't small change either. Right after Clark's absence from the All-Star game was confirmed, ticket sales dropped significantly. Reports showed nearly a 15% decline in resale prices overnight, a stark reminder of how much weight she carries, even while recovering on the sidelines. For a league that's been hustling to stay afloat, moments like these aren't just inconvenient, they're dangerous. By the end of it all, the criticism was clear. Plum didn't just miss the mark with her words. Experts agreed that she might have hurt the league's momentum during a critical time. But Clark? She wasn't about to let the controversy define her role in the WNBA.
Plum come out and said, hey, Caitlin Clark, Team Clark wasn't present for the meeting about the shirts.
You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water.
Caitlin Clark didn't fire back with a long-winded statement or even a formal comment. She let Instagram do the talking. 6 words. Thank you for the Nike ad. That was all it took for Clark to shift the entire narrative overnight. While Plum's comments had left the WNBA in turmoil, Clark's subtle but sharp reply managed to calm things down while simultaneously elevating her own brand. The best part? It wasn't just a casual clapback, it was calculated. Here's why Clark's response was so impactful. On the surface, it may have seemed like a simple jab, but it was anything but. She turned the chaos caused by Plum's words into a branding moment that played right into her partnership with Nike. The fact that Plum is signed with Under Armour only sharpened the edge of Clark's pointed comment. In one Instagram post, Clark made her mark not only as a player, but as a business powerhouse. She was staying above the drama while quietly securing even more attention for herself and her sponsor. That's next-level strategy. Fans and media loved it. While Plum's remarks left a sour taste, Clark's comment brought focus back to her role as a major draw for the league.
It's not the T-shirts. You're going to do fine. I'd scale back on the Caitlin Clark angst.
Social media lit up with posts praising her calm professionalism, with one user saying, "Caitlin just snatched the spotlight without even trying." And for the WNBA's sponsors, it was the reminder they didn't know they needed. Clark isn't just a star player. She's a marketing dream, the kind of figure that brings in both fans and dollars. Even basketball legends noticed what was happening. Charles Barkley chimed in saying, "I don't know what these women are doing. They got a star and they're treating her like a problem." His point was clear. The league needs to unite behind players like Clark to grow, not knock them down. Meanwhile, Colin Cowherd pointed out that Clark had single-handedly elevated the WNBA's profile beyond what anyone thought possible.
Caitlin Clark has made him reevaluate the way he takes vacation during the off-football year.
Arguably, it'll be over the next 10 years. It's only going to get more profitable as women's basketball gets better, as the Caitlin Clark momentum train gets bigger.
With simple words, she proved why she's the league's heart and future. The WNBA's future hangs on its ability to rally behind players like Caitlin Clark.
The T-shirts don't bother me, but why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark?
With games featuring Clark consistently pulling over 1 million viewers, her impact goes beyond basketball. She's drawing new eyes to the league, boosting ticket sales, and offering sponsors a golden opportunity.
Because he's like, Caitlin Clark's a real story, and there's real clicks, and there's real views around that, and real listens for the radio show and his podcast.
But all of this depends on unity. Imagine what the league could achieve if every player focused on working together instead of tearing each other down. The growing pains are real, but so is the potential. Supporting stars like Clark isn't just good for her, it's vital for the league's success and long-term growth,